Active audience theory is the idea that audiences of media do not only receive information passively, but are also actively involved, sometimes unconsciously, in understanding the message using their personal and social contexts. Agenda setting theory is the concept that when mass media focus their attention on particular events or issues, they determine what people discuss and what they pay attention to. Both of these terms are very prevalent when discussing the topic of media usage. I interviewed 2 college students about their media usage and the specific ways in which media plays into their daily lives, and had them discuss their perspective on their level of awareness of their media consumption. Okay, so to start off, I want to know what your initial reaction to the word media is. What kind of things come to mind when you hear that word?
The first thing I think of is social media because it's in the name for some reason.
Billboards, of course, are advertising in some sort of media. There's TV, movies, podcasts that I consume on a day-to-day basis.
When I think of media, I think of anything that's consumed by a large amount of people publicly.
Do you feel self-aware of the amount of media you consume?
I am decently cognizant of the amount of media that I consume. Like I said, social media is super prevalent in everybody's day-to-day. Even for work, I do a little bit of marketing, so that comes into play because I'm constantly doing research on different platforms.
I consume a lot of media pretty much all day. I don't know if music counts, but there's always some form of media going on.
Are you able to identify what type of media you use the most? And if you can, why do you think that is the one that you use the most?
My most used media is probably social media. I definitely use that on a daily basis. Whether it's Instagram or TikTok, I'm definitely on that at least once a day.
I think my most used form of media would be TikTok because it's kind of just an endless cycle. You just keep scrolling and scrolling. And then also TV shows. I watch a lot of TV shows.
Have you ever encountered any unreliable sources of media, such as misleading information or false advertising?
There are certainly unreliable and misadvertised, sections of media everywhere. And I think it becomes difficult to sort of understand where are the reliable places to seek that information and obtain that information.
I think that Twitter specifically is full of a lot of misleading information. A lot of people just will see a headline and then kind of run with it, and then it spreads.
Have you ever made any efforts to limit or control your media usage before?
I have taken some steps, like the quarantine period that I'm sure we all were consuming a lot more media during the time, for various reasons. My TikTok and other media usage was really astronomically high, so I still have a screen time set for it for like 30 or 45 minutes.
Yeah, I tried recently to delete TikTok, and I deleted it for a couple months and then just got it back. Yeah, that along with monitoring my screen time.
We consume a lot of different forms of media in order to do our schoolwork. So how do you feel about the education system becoming so technologically advanced?
A lot of our assignments are based around like observing forms of media, like TED Talks, articles, and stuff like that. And I think the use of technology in our education is actually a good thing because we have more information available to us for learning, and communication is easier between my classmates.
I think that that's sort of the era in the world that we're moving towards, so it's really important that younger people are able to adapt and learn those sorts of media. I do think that it can be sort of divisive when it comes to thinking of who has access to technology. I think that can be a little bit more challenging to those that aren't privileged and that don't have the access to pieces of equipment in order to learn and understand technology.
How has media come into play in your specific field of study?
A big one for me as an accounting student, I'm a part of the Missouri Society of CPAs, and we get a lot of media sent to us, like articles, newsletters, and there's a lot of online webinars that we can attend.
Media makes it more accessible to see how other places, whether it be countries, cities, even other states that maybe we aren't privy to, are sort of built and maintained and how they function architecturally and spatially, because we can have access to that without having to, physically go to those places, which I think can be really insightful and beneficial to those studying design or architecture or anything in that field, even like public policy or urban planning.
Are there any significant events that have happened in media that have impacted you in any way?
On TikTok, I actually, sounds a little bit weird, but I actually was kept abreast on, what is happening in Ukraine during the height of all of the bad problems, which I'm sure are still continuing now, but that's how I actually did get a lot of information from people that are actually, in Ukraine and experiencing it down in like the bomb shelters and things like that. We were able to see firsthand from people it was affecting on TikTok.
And do you have any plans in the future to change your media usage or maybe limit it or do something unique with it?
I do not currently have any plans to limit or change my usage of media. I think that it can be important when you realize it can be taking over your daily routine. As far as TikTok, my screen time usage, limitations will stay set, and I will think about it the next time that I ignore it and think about why I'm doing it.
I think that I could probably use it a little bit less. I think that a lot of my time goes towards that kind of stuff when it could be going towards more productive things. I think a lot of people my age probably feel the same way.
Through conducting these interviews, I learned that the students' awareness of their media consumption was fairly high, and they were able to quickly identify various ways that it is involved in their daily lives. The agenda-setting theory was demonstrated when Adam spoke about his TikTok algorithm showing him content of people in Ukraine during the war, which is an example of media showing us what we should be paying attention to. From this data, it appears to me that power mostly resides in the media producers. While the consumers can make efforts to limit media consumption, they can't avoid it entirely due to how completely intertwined it is in our daily lives. As media consumers, we rely on media daily to receive information. So it is important that we are aware of the reliability of our sources.